The F1 has released a statement expressing sadness and shock at the situation in Russia and Ukraine, and as the Russian Grand Prix is axed, Mazepin's future is thrown into question. Here's everything we know so far. First up, FIA finally cancels Russian Grand Prix. In response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Formula One has declared that the Russian Grand Prix has been cancelled. The F1 stated in a statement last Friday night that it was observing the situation in Ukraine with sadness and shock, and that it had undertaken lengthy consultations before canceling the event. According to the statement, the FIA F1 World Championship travels to countries all over the world with a good vision of uniting people and bringing nations together. They are watching the happenings in Ukraine with regret and dismay, hoping for a quick and peaceful conclusion to the crisis. On Thursday evening, Formula One, the FIA, and the teams considered their sport's position, and the conclusion, which includes the views of all key parties, is that the Russian Grand Prix cannot be held in the current conditions. On September 25th, the Russian Grand Prix was scheduled to take place in Sochi. Meanwhile, Haas Formula One team head Gunther Steiner revealed that his team's Russian racer Nikita Mazepin has an unclear future as a result of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Mazepin was signed last year as part of a title sponsorship agreement with Russian potash manufacturer Uralkali, which is controlled by his wealthy father Dmitry Mazepin. Steiner told reporters that while he sees the need for a resolution, he also reminded everyone that, as he has previously stated, not everything is in their hands here. There are governments engaged as well as the F1 team, so he has no idea what is going on there. Next, Vettel and Verstappen believe the Russian GP should be cancelled. The decision comes after reigning Formula One world champion Max Verstappen and previous champion Sebastian Vettel both stated on Friday that the Russian Grand Prix should be cancelled. According to Ukrainian officials, Russia invaded Ukraine last Thursday, murdering scores of people in the early hours. Vettel, a four-time champion, claimed he was stunned to wake up to the news, and the Aston Martin driver is convinced he would not partake in the race in Sochi on September 25th. Vettel remarked during a press conference on the second day of preseason testing in Barcelona that in the way he sees it, after he woke up to the news, stunned, he's not too sure about racing there anymore. He finds it horrifying to have to witness what is going on. He was reported to have said that he understands that they have a race in Russia planned, but his personal judgment is that he should not go, and he will not go. He believes that racing in the country is inappropriate. Vettel, 34, stated that he was certain that additional negotiations will take place in the Formula One paddock, but he is sad for the victims, for the innocent people who are losing their lives, for the people who are being slaughtered for silly reasons, all because of a very bizarre and insane leadership, added Vettel. He's sure they'll talk about it, but he's simply stunned and saddened by what's going on. So he said we'll have to wait and see what happens next. But he believes his decision has already been made, and now that the FIA has decided to cancel the Russian GP, Vettel will be sticking to his promise. Reigning champion Verstappen expressed his opposition to participating there as well, claiming that when a country is at war, it's not appropriate to compete there. What counts is not what he thinks, but what the entire paddock decides. Up next, Nikita Mazepin barred from the British Grand Prix. Nikita Mazepin, a Russian Formula One driver, will be forbidden from racing in the British Grand Prix as a result of Motorsport UK's reaction to the situation in Ukraine. On Tuesday, Haas driver Mazepin appeared to be on track to compete in F1 this season after the FIA agreed Russian and Belarusian drivers may race under a neutral flag. However, David Richards, CBE, head of Motorsport UK, and the organization's board of directors announced in a statement on Wednesday that Mazepin will be unable to compete at Silverstone on July 3rd unless the situation changes. He stated that the whole Motorsport UK community condemns Russia and Belarus crimes of violence in Ukraine and offers its sympathy and support for all people impacted by the continuing crisis. In response, and in full accordance with the International Olympic Committee recommendations, Motorsport UK confirmed, while respecting the FIA decisions, that no Russian-Belarusian licensed teams are approved to enter motorsport competitions in the UK, no Russian or Belarusian licensed competitors and officials are approved to participate in UK motorsport events, and no Russian-Belarusian national symbols, colors, and flags on uniform, equipment, or car are to be displayed. To guarantee a unilateral reaction to the situation, Motorsport UK took its decision in thorough consultation with the UK government and national sports governing organizations. Now, in other F1 news, Nicholas Latifi invokes resentment from Hamilton. Nicholas Latifi has stated that he expects some chats to take place during the first driver's briefing of the Formula One season, with resentment developing between Lewis Hamilton and his fellow F1 drivers. This rage is very certainly directed at what Latifi refers to as inconsistencies from race officials during the 2021 campaign. Former race director Michael Masi's decision-making left Hamilton in particular unhappy with a contested judgment in the season's last race, eventually losing the Englishman a record 8th world title. title. Masi controversially permitted a number of lapped cars between Hamilton and championship contender Max Verstappen to pass a safety car, following an incident that really affected Latifi. With one lap to go, the Englishman and Verstappen were virtually side by side, and it was the latter who went on to win the title. Following the pandemonium that erupted at last season's season finale in Abu Dhabi, Masi was fired, and the FIA hired both Niels Wittich and Eduardo Freitas to officiate races in 2022. As a result, Latifi expects the FIA to provide more consistent officiating this term as a result of the new appointment. Despite the changes, Latifi feels he and his teammates will enter the new season with unresolved concerns. As a result, he anticipates that the first driver's briefing of 2022 will be outlined before the season starts in Bahrain. Latifi and his teammates will be back in action for the first team this season in little over 2 weeks, with the Bahrain Grand Prix starting off the season on March 20th. Next, minimum weight regulations 2022. Despite the fact that the minimum weight in the 2022 regulations has increased by 43 kilos this year, the majority of Formula One teams are failing to meet it. The minimum mass requirement was raised to 795 kilograms this year, up from 752 kilograms the previous year. The minimum weight is determined without the use of gasoline and with dry weather tires. Despite the rise, most teams are still having trouble losing weight. While this is common with drastically new regulations, the 2022 standards have presented a unique difficulty to F1 teams. Haas is one of the teams that is struggling to reach the required weight. However, technical director Simone Resta points out that it won't know where it is until it gets a final specification vehicle in Bahrain next week. The minimum weight will climb by 1 kilogram to 796 kilograms next year, following the decade-long trend of gradual increases. The revised standards originally set the minimum weight of the automobile at 775 kilograms, which would have represented a 23 kilogram rise. This was done largely to accommodate for the added weight of the 18-inch wheels. However, this was later increased to the present 995 kilograms, mostly as a result of enhanced safety features. Lastly, Max Verstappen wrote to Michael Masi. After the turmoil in Abu Dhabi, Max Verstappen wrote Michael Masi a note in which he claimed that his departure as race director was unfair, adding that he needed more assistance. Masi's decision to restart racing after a late safety car period in last season's finale proved a contentious conclusion to the year, and as a result of an internal FIA investigation, a new structure has been put in place in race control, and the under-fire race director has been relieved of his role. Eduardo Freitas and Niels Wittich will now direct races on an alternating basis in the hopes of preventing burnout during a record 23-round schedule in 2022. The Red Bull driver previously stated that he felt Masi was thrown under the bus in the aftermath of the race, and that they have subsequently exchanged texts. Masi was appointed race director after serving as deputy to Charlie Whiting, but was elevated to the position after Whiting's sad death in Australia in 2019. However, having taken on the majority of the most critical responsibilities in Formula One by himself, the Red Bull driver felt Masi needed more people around him to make more clear judgments. As a result of his dismissal, the new world champion stated that he was not the only one to send the Australian his best. Verstappen will begin his championship defense in Bahrain on Sunday the 20th of March, following 3 days of testing at the same track on Thursday 10th of March. Well, that's a wrap for this video. Do you believe barring Mazepin from the British Grand Prix is fair? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.